This video will discuss floors and floor framing. If you have not seen the video, look at the video on how to set up two windows in Solid Builder. You can see here on the left I have one model view, and on the right a second model view, each of them independently set, one to plan, one to 3D. With floors you have the basic option under Settings and Document Settings, and then under Building Aids, to have automatically inserted floors with this checked. And what that means is when you close a space, you can see these walls are open, so I'll drag this up and close that space, and immediately this floor and this floor was created. When I close this off, this floor gets created. These floors, when you double click them, you'll see that they're set to general and they're 1/4 inch thick. What does that mean? That means that they do not have any framing associated with them. So if you'd like, you could select framed and go down to specify framing and then turn on, in this case, turn on and set to yes for the joist, for the rims, and for any headers that occur when you cut openings. And then you can also assign the individual member itself that is being used for the floor. So you can take this general floor and switch it to a framed, but by default the general floor is only 1/4 inch thick. The other option is to work with the structural floor, and I have the choice of by perimeter, by room, or by pick points. I'll select by room, and over on the right I'll select the 11 7/8 TGI, and here you can see when selected I get a direction of the joist, the spacing, a staggered offset. I have the option for the sill plate on the bottom, for the band joist on the side, rim joist on the other side, and then any openings that might occur. So all in one, everything is set up for you. I'll select the option to add by room, so click once, twice, and 3 times. Now in order to visually see and adjust, there are a couple of settings that were required. In plan view, I'd like to select the floor, but the walls get in the way. So I can go down to View Filter, and under Walls, select them to be non-selectable. Then I can select this floor. In the 3D view, because these settings are independent, I'd like to turn off the surfaces and turn on the framing. Select this view, go to View Filter, and under Floors, I'd like to turn on the structural floor framing, and I'd like to turn off the floor surfaces. And then we can see what we're producing in plan view. I select the center room and zoom in. On the right side you'll see we have some blue circles, some red triangles, and this light blue triangle. That's associated with a right click, structural floor option, and your base point. So if I'd like to move that base point, which will shift all of the floor joists at one time, I select Move Framing Base Point, select that base point, and you can see down below I can enter a distance now, or I can just select, and when I move that base point you can see that the joist shift. If I now select this upper and go back to structural floor, insert bearing line, I can then mimic or trace over where a wood beam or I-beam would be located, and the joists are automatically lapped, and that lap occurs where the beam is located. And if I now again select this whole unit, you can see that the style is staggered and the distance is 1 foot, meaning from the center to here is 1 foot, from the center to here is 1 foot. If I would like them to be pulled back, meaning there would be joist hangers on the side of a beam, I could then set this dimension to be half of the thickness of the beam. So let's say we had a 6-inch beam. I would set this to 3 inches and say OK. And then both sides are held back 3 inches. And then the beam would be placed down the center. If I return to this center option and double click it, you can see I can change joist directions also. So they're 90 or up and down right now. I can have them go left and right by just changing it to 0. They ask if I'd like to also regenerate all edges, and I'll say yes. And you can see now I've reversed the directions. One other option is to select, and similar to any other floor setup, I can curve, cut openings, remove openings, add nodes, remove nodes, add edges, and split. And turning off all walls and more clearly show you the individual options. Because these are framed from the master catalog, they've already been adjusted as individual members. So I can take members out, I can move them, double them up, make copies of them. You can see the individual pieces. So that would be your band joist, that would be your pressure treated sill plate. If you look at these a little more closely, you can see that the sill plate under details has been rotated. So it's a member that's been rotated. And obviously the rim board under details is not rotated. So you have these individual components. The I-joist look like I-joist. And obviously you have the option to use standard 2x10s, 2x12s, and you also have the option to add elements and generate your own floor system. And going into the view filter and turning surfaces on, you can then see that that surface is a 3/4 inch floor as called out in the catalog. I've created an enclosed area with a floor in it. When I select, you can see that the floor is rectangular. If I go into the room division option, I can divide that space off by using the room division tool, delete the excess. And when I select that floor, you can see that the floor has been segmented. That allows me to assign different materials. The various options that you have are the basic floor by default, by room, perimeter, pick points, or that room division option. And you can also select and right click and go into properties with that basic 1/4 inch tool and switch it to a framed option. And then you have the structural floor by perimeter, by room, and by pick points, where you choose from the catalog the floor system you'd like.